All right, it's time for my favorite thing, animation. Let's go animate. Ah! Sorry, we need to make that bigger, don't we? Wait for it. Are you ready? It's animation time. Yeah! Okay, that was not as funny as I thought it would be. Okay, a couple things. Control Z. Let's go ahead and set up some things. I'll go back out of expert mode. Let's go ahead and get rid of our UV editor. Just right click and close tab. The UV toolkit, close tab. We're done with that for a while. What I like to tell my students to do, and what I typically have them do, is after any section, like modeling, texturing, even animation, I make them save a separate file just in case they want to go back and make modifications beforehand. So I'm going to go ahead and file, save scene as, and I'm going to call this one Steve Animated, because we're going to animate him. And then we're going to do something on here. We're going to rename him to Steve instead of Torso. So double click Steve. And then one more thing. We're going to go ahead and edit, delete all by type, history. Now, if you weren't noticing over here, I'll go ahead and undo that and show you again. Now, you notice all this stuff we have in here? This is all our history of modeling and everything. It gets heavy after a while. Not on Minecraft Steve. He's totally a light model. But if you had a really complex model or a really complex scene, you need to take care of all this extra stuff. And that's another reason why I save it a new version. So I can go back if I ever want to go back to any of these modifications I made to a model. But now that we're ready to animate, we really need to get rid of all this extra stuff. So edit, delete all by type, history. And notice this is really clean now in the attribute editor. So make note of that. It is an important step, believe it or not. So just go ahead and follow my instructions. I will lead you to glorious Minecraft awesomeness. Okay, let's hide these image planes. We no longer need them. Shift, and then we'll go Control H to hide them. Animation time. Let's talk about setting keyframes, what that means, what that looks like, how easy it is to do. And then the next one, we'll try to do kind of a walk cycle. Another thing I want to encourage you during animation, strive to do your best, but if it looks really derpy, like it does not look beautiful at all, don't worry. Number one, I picked Minecraft Steve because his animations are the derpiest of any character of all time. So that frees you from any thinking about this doesn't look good. And another thing I like that my students do, my new students typically will do funny things with their animations. They'll do outrageous things. They'll exaggerate. They'll just be ridiculous. And then we all laugh about it. And that helps you get through that pain of this doesn't look very good. Don't worry about it right now. You're just learning. So let's talk keyframes. Lots of ways to set keyframes, tons. I'm going to show you a couple, and we'll just keep going. I'm going to hit Q for the select. Let's go ahead and select the head. Let's animate the head. This is my timeline down here. And so when you set a keyframe early on, and then you go move the time, and then set another keyframe. Let me show you. If I just hit the S key right here, watch what happens down here. Notice this red mark right here? That says there's a keyframe on here. Again, let's go over here to the channel box editor, and look at all this red that happened. I'll move forward in time, let's say 30 frames, which is about a second, and I'll go ahead and hit S again. Now, what's going to happen when I play this back? Absolutely nothing. But let's go back to 30, and this time let's spin this head around, E. We'll go ahead and rotate it all the way around, and if you see here, we could just type in 360 for a perfect circle. All right. Let's go ahead and hit S again because we made a change. We need it to be red. That shows that a keyframe's been set. So now I get the head spin. Pretty creepy awesome, isn't it? Welcome to the world of animation, kids. It gets better from here. A couple more things I'll show you, and then either you can just have fun with it, or we'll probably have him walk around or something. Nothing intense. Maybe he'll do a little jump. I love it when his little feet do that thing. It's hilarious. But okay, so a couple more things. We also have something called auto keyframe down here. If you come over here, this is auto keyframe here. It's awesome. Here's why. If I set a key on anything and I make a change forward in time, it will automatically set a key. Let me show you how that works. So I'll turn that on, and let's move our character around. So right now we have no keyframes on Steve himself, the actual body, the one we're going to move around. So let's set a keyframe there. We hit S. Notice it sets a keyframe on everything. You don't necessarily want to do that, but for the first thing, it's not a big deal. Why that's a big deal, why you might want to set one on just certain specific things, is to keep things clean. At this point, it's so simple, we don't have to make things clean. In the future, though, we're going to animate specific things. So just keep in mind, we don't necessarily want to animate every single channel. So we don't necessarily want to set a keyframe on every single channel. But don't worry about it. For right now, it's totally acceptable. All right, so if I move forward in time, let's say I want him for the next 2 seconds to kind of, well, let's say for the first 15 seconds as his head spins, he kind of looks over there. Notice it automatically puts a keyframe in for me, and then I go back to 30, and then maybe he looks over here. All right, so now he's like looking around. He gets his bearings, and then he decides, if I hit W, he's going to move forward. All right, as in over here, right up into the screen, to scare you, to terrify you with fear and chill. Okay, that's quite enough, I'm sure. Let's go back. Let's press play so we can actually watch this. Oh, that happened way too quick. So what's going on here is we can right click here and talk about playback speed right here. And we got play every frame free, and we can do this thing called real time. What that will do is it will play it back in real time, just like it says. So I'll hit that button and we'll press play again, and you'll notice the difference in speed. Boom. Okay? Not the greatest animation in the world. And in fact, what we wanted him to do was to look left and right and then shoot at us real scary, right? So we want it to start kind of slow, but because this keyframe is set here instead of here, we have a problem. So how do we change that? How do we move that? How do we manipulate the keyframes once they've been created? I'm going to show you in the next one. I'll see you then.